Hey guys, thanks for watching. Well, we're going to jump in on the diary pretty quick because I need to get the rest of the diary filmed and uploaded so I can put it in the mail and get it back to the Pikes in time for the family reunion. But before we get started, I wanted to ask you a question, and I want you to be really honest. Have you found that as we've gone through the diary, you've been a little disappointed? Because we are reading the diary of a World War I soldier, and yet there seems to be an absolute absence of war, of fighting. I remember when I picked the diary up at 16 and 17 and first began to read it and recognized that I had a soldier's diary, every page I turned, I kept hoping and expecting to run across that, and it just didn't happen. I didn't understand at the time that the diary is actually written after the war ends. The war ends in November 11th. Diary picks up January 1st of 1919. So he's a couple months away from out of the war. But just because he doesn't write about it doesn't mean that he doesn't experience it. Now we know that he wasn't a typical infantry soldier that would probably have been down in the trenches fighting. But in the last journal entry that we read, he said he was at the front. So he would have been close enough to see the bombs, to hear the bombs, maybe to have strapped a gas mask on. He saw war in vivid color. They say that the trenches took such a pounding that they were constantly having to be repaired, the frontline trenches. And when one of those shells landed in the trenches with men and pieces of men would go everywhere. And as the trenches were repaired, it was not uncommon at all to have a body in the wall of your trench. So death and the smell of death permeated everything. He would have experienced that. He would have seen men maimed, missing arms and legs. He would have heard the cries of the wounded. He would have seen men shaking uncontrollably with a 1,000-yard stare. We know that as PTSD. Back then, they could only call it shell shock. And yet he never mentions any of this in the diary. Instead, he writes about days that are cloudy but clear. And he writes about what was going on down at the YMCA and what he cooked himself for dinner at night in his billet. He writes about everything but the war. And I think that's very telling, because Justin Pike would have spent the rest of his life remembering the things that he saw. He didn't need to write it down. Just wanted to insert that into your head. We're going to talk a little bit about the trip home, and probably one of the very first experiences of war that he had. He makes mention of it. Let's get on with the diary. Hope you enjoy this part. Sunday, April 13th, 1919. Palm Sunday. We left Borbonne at 4 p.m. for Jussie, where we will board the train. I can't make out this next word. Something at now 6 p.m. and the cooks are preparing mess. Left Jussie at 11 p.m. We are riding in the American boxcars. Don't miss this. This was just cool. Look at his handwriting right here. Do you see how sloppy that got? That's what happens when you're riding in a train and trying to write in a very small journal. That just kind of jumped out at me. Very noticeable difference in the handwriting and the pressure that he's using with the pencil. He was trying his best to make that legible on a very bumpy train ride. Clear all day, rode in the train all day. Pretty cold at night in these boxcars. Rain off and on all day, rode all day in the train. Sure am tired. Very tiresome. We got canteen filled at St. Pierre de Corps. We had cocoa and cakes at the YMCA at one of the big camps. One car tore off a set of wheels. Guess they had to make some repairs. Clear all day. We had one heck of a night last night. Landed at Beaumont at 1 p.m. last night. We in something. I can't make that word out. Headquarters staff. We unloaded headquarters staff off between two trains and had to transfer it with another train, so something trucks could get in it. We left at 7:30 a.m., arrived at Borbonne at 8 a.m. Maybe you guys can make some of that out. I had a hard time there. Clear all day. I lettered the Major's trunk. Arose at 10 a.m. from a good night's sleep. Took things easy all day. Received watch from USA in perfect condition. Also a Philadelphia Record. I'm beginning to think the Philadelphia Record is a newspaper, I'm thinking. And an NA papers. I've been calling that North American papers. I don't know that that's what that stands for, though. Good Friday. Cloudy all day. Arose at 9 a.m. Made some G2 signs and took things generally easy. We have a recruiting office set up. Hee hee ha ha. A recruiting office. Line up, boys. It's fun. That's funny. Clear and beautiful all day. Fine weather. Put lettering on boxes. Took a bucket bath. The Red Cross gave us chocolate, cigarettes, and gum away yesterday and today. Was up in Old Chateau this evening. One could get a most beautiful view of the surrounding country. Easter Sunday. Beautiful weather all day. I played in a game of baseball in the afternoon. Some game. Received a nice letter from home dated the 4th of April in which Mother said she had a dream about me being injured in the leg. Beautiful and clear all day, but cool and windy. I lettered boxes for return to the States. Had a field inspection in the evening. Troop movement started for the port of Embarkation today for the 29th Division. We leave at St. Marjorie. Received nice letter dated something 4th. Beautiful and clear all day. Lettered cases to go aboard ship. We are still in Borbonne, 20 kilometers north of Le Mans. Troop movement started Monday the 21st. Clear all day. I played and watched ball game all afternoon and evening. Also saw movies in the evening. He mentioned seeing movies several times. I would have loved to know what movies he was watching. I get up every morning about 9 or 10 o'clock. Beautiful and clear all day. Amsley and myself went over to Le Mans by bus. I paid Reagan a visit, and he sure was surprised. Boy, to see me. Then we went to the movies. A magician performed in the footfire. A magician performed in our town. Can't make out that next one. Something the evening. Received a letter from Dad. Clear all day, played ball in the evening. I mailed home a complete cloth insignia sheet. What went to show in the evening, received a letter from somebody. Clear and very windy. At maybe that's headquarters. Afternoon, there was quite a hailstorm. No. Clear and very windy. At 4 p.m. afternoon, there was quite a hailstorm. I lettered another box. Cloudy and rainy, off and on all day. Sergeant Hodges and I went over to Le Mans in the afternoon, got back around 10:30 in the evening. Rain and darn cold all day. About the most miserable weather we have had since arriving in Boulogne. Tomorrow we leave for Beaumont and Saint Marzati, I think it may be. Cloudy all day and slightly rainy. We left Boulogne about 5:30 p.m. Arrived at Beaumont at we left Boulogne about 3:30 p.m. and arrived at Beaumont at 4:30 p.m. where we in train about 9 p.m. we had extra YMCA tent. We had a YMCA tent. Arrived at camp number 2 at 9 a.m. We ate in the great kitchen that handles about 2,000 men at a time. It is now 4 p.m. and we have been placed in temporary barracks as it is raining. After supper, we marched over to camp number 2, where we are to stay. Cloudy and rainy. I don't know what that word is either. Cloudy, rainy, and windy. There it is. The troop and detachment are scattered around in different barracks. There's a lot of waiting apparently going on. Cloudy and rainy all day. Made 2 trips to camp 2. Nothing to do in camp except wait for ship to come in and take us home. Cloudy and rainy all day. Received Philadelphia record today. Received a letter from home. Expect to go aboard ship for USA tomorrow or Monday. Cloudy and misty all day. We had physical examination at 9 a.m. Men were paid off. I did not receive any pay, and this squares me up. Hodge squared himself with me. That would probably be some money he loaned out. Most beautiful day. Sunshine all day. We passed another inspection, physical and cooties. Lice. They wanted to check those guys before they packed them all on a ship together. Today was like a summer day, so beautiful. We sail tomorrow on the Powhatan, originally the German Hamburg, christened by the Kaiser. Cloudy but clear all day. My foot was lame, so I came down on the truck. We went aboard at 8:30 a.m. Sure is a clean ship. It beats the Pastores all hollow. Powhatan sailed at 8 p.m. They serve very good meals on board. All right, let's stop right here reading because I want to talk about these 2 ships, the Powhatan and the Pastores. Now, the Pastores, of course, he's talking about is the ship, the troop ship that he came over back in June. And he's saying apparently that ship did not have the greatest accommodations, but the Powhatan, which was a German ship. Now, this Powhatan happened to be in New York at the outbreak of the war, and it kind of stayed there. It didn't want to travel during the war, and the Red Cross took the Powhatan over and sent a bunch of medical people and medical supplies across. Well, I guess it continued to do that for the first few years of World War I. Of course, the U.S. didn't enter till 1917, and when it entered, the U.S. took the ship and renamed it the Powhatan, and it made multiple voyages back and forth across the Atlantic, taking troops to and from France. And there is a really awesome collection, as you're seeing, of photographs of this ship. Now, this photograph right here in particular, pretty interesting, because I found the date for this photograph, and I believe it to be taken on the return trip that Justin was on. So, unfortunately, there are some pictures of, you can see World War soldiers on the ship. I don't know the dates that those pictures were taken, but the one with the crew and the captain, that was taken the day after he arrives home. I don't want to get ahead in the journal, but the day after that ship sailed into port, that's when that photograph was taken. So these would have been men that he would have seen and been around on the voyage back home. Cool history of these two ships, and I think that's going to be it for today. We'll be back. Thanks for watching.